This is Nico Steves for a mini-series on the Virgin Mary and the Lenten season, through her eyes. From Carnival or Mardi Gras to the resurrection of Christ on Easter Day, the 40 days of Lent is a time for putting the brakes on living the status quo of each of our daily lives. For many, participating in these 40 days is something you'd much rather like to avoid. Why should one go without? Why should one feel any obligation to have to go to church more than once beyond the times you normally spend going to church? And why make changes to alter the normal problems one has to put up with each and every day? So some background is in order. This season involves a reviewing of the passions of Jesus, and we'll try to view through the Virgin Mary's point of view in an effort to help each one of us in our own participation of what is left in this year's Lenten season. And perhaps to considering that the Mother of God had to experience these events may help us to participate more fully this Easter. And the 40 days have begun. Keep in mind that those coming in, even at the 11th hour, though perhaps not as deep in self-contemplation, are still welcome, just as those who started from the first day of Lent. And of course, the Virgin Mary was following Jesus all throughout his teachings, suffering the injustice that was foisted upon her Son at the end, witnessing his death on the cross, as well as the resurrection, and no doubt was looked to by the apostles for her intimate knowledge of her Son as they groped through the early days of the beginnings of the Christian Church's foundation, which may bring to each of us in our daily Lent journey a sensitivity to how she must have felt as the world gave up Jesus to the powers that were so jealous as to demand from their governing overseers his death. Like Christmas, the Easter season is highlighted by a key moment in the life of Jesus. And while the birthday celebration of Christmas is a universally acknowledged celebration of gift-giving and receiving, the recognition of Jesus on the cross and the otherworldly coming back from death is indeed a rebirth that sometimes gets overshadowed by the experience of Jesus being humiliated and dying, though he was innocent of any wrongdoing that demanded his death. And for some Christians, Easter is not celebrated more overtly than any other Sunday service where the body and blood are shared in a common communion. In the traditional or the apostolic church communities, Easter, Lent, earmark important aspects in the traditional church communities to forgive and forget, to rise above one's petty grievances, to recognize that self-sacrifice and helping one another is worthy of thinking about when viewed through the prism of what Jesus Christ gave by willingly offering himself to death. Since Fat Tuesday, perhaps you have accepted the mantle of going without or not doing something of pleasure for the traditional 40 days of Lent. And to you who have made the requested commitment, congratulations and keep the faith as you continue along your Lenten journey. But for those who are just beginning to contemplate this year's Easter time, but have not quite started their personal journey, don't hesitate to jump right in as we begin observing the Madonna's journey as well. And in this time of Lent, take heart in knowing it's not just you going through this Lent, but rather many individuals trying to get closer to God. To get there, let's begin at the beginning. The Virgin Mary's role in the Passion of Christ is worthy of consideration in that almost from the time of his birth, like any good parent, she concerned herself with the life and health of her newborn son. Coupled with the recognition after being visited by the strangers from foreign lands who lauded her child, making tangible, making real for the couple that their son was destined for greatness. Suddenly, and shortly thereafter, Joseph was warned by an angel of the Lord that he must hurry and take his young wife and child rapidly away, lest the baby be killed. And so the stories that remind us of both the life and death of God on earth can yield much more for us as we, like the Madonna, commit ourselves, also in this Lenten season, to trying to get closer to God. For those of you who haven't heard about it before, my book, The Very Fine Light, is about Randy Sparks, a fun-loving village employee who was always in trouble for telling it like it is, and the pushback he faces from the mayor, who is hiding a secret. And when combined with the village's pending bankruptcy, well, it creates a volatile chemistry that will make sparks fly. No pun intended, Randy. My book, The Very Fine Light, is available on Amazon.com. Oh, one other thing. For those of you currently reading my book, please, when you finish it, do go to the book's Amazon.com page and rate it. I have a link at nicosteves.com that will get you to the page on Amazon. Thank you for listening. Please give a link of this podcast to a friend. Till next week, I'm Nico Steves here. My book, The Very Fine Light, can be found using the title, The Very Fine Light, on Amazon.com. Please feel free to contact me at nicosteves.com. That's Nikos Steves, Steves.com. If you like this episode, and for more, share them with friends. This is Nico Steves. Thank you. See you next time.